Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. So for today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you guys how to make a corset with a bra cup. So if this is what you want to learn, so please keep on watching. So right now we'll be drawing our horizontal measurement. From her shoulder to her armhole is 8.5. From her shoulder to her bust point is 10. Then from her shoulder to her under bust is 13 inches. So right now we're going to roll this into a straight line. Then from her shoulder to her half length, it's going to be 16.5. As from her shoulder to her half length, it's supposed to be 15.5, but you're supposed to add 1 inch sewing allowance. That's making it 16.5. So right now we're going to be inserting our shoulder measurement. Her shoulder is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So right now I marked out my 8 and I'm just rolling it to meet each other. So the next thing for us to do is her nipple to nipple measurement. So her nipple to nipple measurement is 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So we'll be inserting the 3.5 at our half length, our under bust. Then at our bust point, we're going to add half inch to that to make it 4. So straight line. So at my bust point, like I told you, is 4. I added half inch. I'm going to go up by half inch and I will go down by half inches, just the way you're seeing on your screen. Then I'm going to connect the line at my half length, my under bust, to my bust point, so the half inch I came down with. So right now at my yoke line, I'm marking 5 inches. And at the armhole side, at the neck region side, I'm going to go in by half inches. And at the armhole side, I'm going out by 1 inches. At the neck side, half inches. And at the armhole side, 1 inches. Then firstly, I will connect the 5 to the half inch upward at my bust point. Then I will connect the 1 and the half to meet them together. So at my half length, I'm going to go out by 1.5 inches, and at my under bust, I'm going out by 1.5 inches too. Then I'll connect these lines together. So instead of the 1.5 inches, I made it to be 1.75. 1.75. I increased it both at the half length and at the under bust. Then I'm just going to connect these lines together. Then I will connect this line to my 1/2 inch below my bust point. Then I'm just going to cover out my bust. So here is it. So I'm going to be adding 0.25 to my measurement at my yoke line. I'm adding it for both the left and the right hand side, as you can see on your screen, just to give it a little bit tightening at the up. Then I'm just going to connect it to my bust point, just like this. So here is it. We are progressing. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do well to help the channel and subscribe, like, share and connect and comment. Sorry for that. So now I just measured from my shoulder. I measured 7 inches. Right now I'm just labeling it so that you understand what I'm saying. So when I start, I've been calling some things and probably you don't understand. So I just said, okay, let me abbreviate and write it down. So I left what I was saying, doing, and I said, okay, let me mark the neck region. So I went for a 3 by 3 inches neckline. Since I'll be using a net or a tulle for the upper part, a 3 by 3 neckline is perfect for me. So I'm just curving the line to get the neck, to get my neckline. You can use your curve ruler to get this if you can't use a freehand sketching, a freehand. So right now I just came down by 1/2 inches at the armhole, and at the armhole, that's my shoulder part. I came down by 1/2 inches and I connected the line to I slanted the line to my neck. So like I said before, from my shoulder I measured 7 inches, and that's just the line there. So at that 7 inches I measured 1/2 inches. So I will just be connecting the line like this. As you see what I'm doing on my screen, I will just make a semi-perfect or perfect sweetheart neck. So here is it. I just connected it to the 1/2 inches I measured. So I was just trying to explain that that place is 1/2 inches. You can actually give 0.75 if you want that place to be wider. So for me, it I think 1/2 inches is okay for me. So I will go to my bust point and still measure that 1/2 inches, then connect it with a straight line with the other half inches I measured earlier, as you can see. Then at my under bust, I'm just going to give a slant or a curvy line, as you can see, like this. From my under bust to that half inches at my bust point, I'm just going to give a curvy line just like this. Then at the other part of my paper, I'm going to measure 4.5 at my bust point. I'll measure 4.5, as you can see. Then at that 4.5, I'm going to connect it to my under bust in curvy manner, just the way you are seeing on your screen. So here is it. If you're on this step, you're moving forward. So at this point we have 2 inches, so we're going to replace this 2 inches. I needed to replace it just to avoid anything called shortage when I'm through sewing. It's better for you to have an excess, then when you finish so you later trim it, than you're going to get a shortage. If you get a shortage, that means you're losing everything and you're starting from beginning again. But if you actually get an excess, you can trim, you get. So that's what I just did. I added the 2 inches back, and I extended that line up to my armhole where I marked A. A is for my armhole. I just extended that line to that one. Then right now I am writing, or I am marking my horizontal measurement. So her bust measurement divided by 4 plus 3 inches. That's what I did now. Okay, so that corset part at the other side of the paper, I just extended the line. I just drew a straight line to meet that bust point, as you get. Then I wrote my measurements. Then right now I'm just like indicating, or should I say marking, the bust part or the corset part, just to avoid confusion after cutting. So the CF you see there is for center front, and the other part you're seeing SF is for my side front. So right now I'm just cutting, and just watch the process of how I cut. So for my horizontal measurement, I just gave the measurement I got from my client divided by 4, and I added 3 inches allowance. So right now that's how I got my measurement for my bust and for my waist. So I'm just cutting. So I believe you're watching how I cut to get all my parts for my corset. Now this is like there's another corset, that is a 3-part corset. I'm going to make a video on that next. So right now I am cutting. So this is the center front of my corsets. So I'm through cutting, and I'm just arranging it. So right now, if you're cutting on your fabric, please make sure to give 1/2 inches allowance all around these cups, at this center front and at this side. That's the cup, the one I marked size CF and SF. If you're cutting on your fabric, make sure you give 1/2 inches allowance all round, and also on your lining make sure you give half-inches allowance all round. Even for the first, even for all of them, just give half-inches allowance, even the yoke. So right now, like I said, half-inches allowance, look at it, both for my main fabric and for my lining. Just give your half-inches allowance all round. That would be your sewing allowance when you're joining the two cups together. So even at your lining, make sure you indicate your SF and your CF to avoid confusion. So even here, like I told you, give your half-inches sewing allowance everywhere. And when you're cutting this part I'm showing you now, make sure it's on fold, just like my fabric is on fold. Now this is my yoke. I'm using a tool for it. This is for my back. This is for my back. So this is my lining. I cut exactly the way I did on my fabric. So here is it. After joining, you're just going to place your cup inside and you use your hemming gum to gum the cup and your fabric together. You just put your hemming gum at your fabric, put your cup on top of it, then you iron at this outer part here. You just iron and it's going to stay and it's going to give you a perfect cup. So here it is. This is a working process. So this is just how to make a corset with a cup. So here is the finished look. Thanks for watching. Bye.